Let's talk to John in Ohio, then Joseph, Fred, Mike, and others. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Alex. Greetings from Mansfield, Ohio, the former appliance capital of the world until outsourcing hell came here.
Hadn't globalism been great? Hadn't it been good?
Oh, yeah. I wish you would come up here in Ohio sometime, Alex, and go through some of these Rust Belt towns. And I mean, people really, in this country and other states, they really do not see what outsourcing has done unless they come to some of these places up here.
Well, stay there. I'm going to hold you over. We sent a crew earlier this year to Detroit for an upcoming film on eugenics and depopulation, and it looked like something out of the Omega Man or the Last Man on Earth. I mean, it looked like a post-apocalyptic doom. Stay there. We're going to come back to John in Ohio, then Joseph, Fred, Mike, and everybody else. Folks, we know where tyranny leads. It leads to humiliation. It leads to poverty. It leads to bondage. But this is worse than previous tyrannies because on top of all that, extermination. It is an info war, a war on for your mind. I'm very excited to see more and more well-spoken, focused individuals getting involved in talk radio, posting incredible reports to different video sites. I'm seeing a lot of people really start to get it, and I'm seeing the nomenclature and the terms that I've coined being used everywhere. That's very exciting because I've been worried for a long time that people were only getting part of it. Now people are really starting to get the full magnitude of what we're facing. And look, I care about these little control freak people at hotels and malls and banks that have been trained to spy on you. I care about the doctors and the lawyers and the pastors that are being hired and paid by Homeland Security to spy on people. They just don't have any sense. They're ignorant. They think America is about worshiping authority. And it's not. It's the opposite. It's we the people. And our founders were 180 degrees the opposite direction of what's being set up. So if you claim you love America and you care about the Star-Spangled Banner, but then you support all this, you're double-minded. You're double-minded. Okay, I want to try to go quickly through calls. Finish up your point, John, about the deindustrialization.
Yeah, well, it's like I was saying, everything up here has been so deindustrialized. My family came from the South in the 60s to work up here, and now you can't go back to either place because either place you're going to go is a living hell. But like I said...
But remember, they promised that you were going to have service jobs, and now those are gone. I mean, they promised that having the big banks run things would be wonderful. I mean, they love us.
Yeah, but Alex, while I have you here, I just want to say, if you bring this point up, like as I post on the Internet, you got Democrats, now that Obama's in there, they talk like the Republicans. They say, well, everything is your fault. It's all your fault that you're going through this. It's because you're stupid, you're uneducated, and you just don't have any momentum. And then when the Republicans were in there, it was the Republicans, like the Hannitys, were saying the same thing. But now they're saying because card check is in here, now Glenn Beck's harping on card check, he keeps saying, well, the labor unions are going to take over the world and everybody's going to have to belong to a labor union. And I keep screaming when I hear this because I say, you dummy, this is what they did in the Soviet Union.
Wait a minute. I mean, you mean weeks after we covered that TSA is now controlling the unions where you have to get approval to have a job, he's now covering that?
Yeah, well, here's what he says. Glenn Beck said, card check. Okay, the unions are going to take over Walmart. Everything, the Teamsters union is going to run wild. Now, my father's a Teamster, and I can tell you, the Teamsters union has lost clout in this country.
No. It's been taken over by the government. It's not the unions are taking over. But you're exactly right. But, I mean, going over this, what they're doing is, whether it's unions or mega corporations, it doesn't matter. They've all got the inside track with government, but that's only done so the government can then control all those employees. It's just like 500 plus, last time I checked, major mega corporations have been given waivers where they don't have to get the government health care. They don't have to pay for it, but their competition does.
I wanted to ask you while I had you on here, while I was off over this Christmas break, I've been watching a lot of interesting things on YouTube, and I watched an interview with a man I believe he was called George Green. He was a former insider, was on ProjectCamelot.com, and he said something about on there that he'd been in the government since the 60s doing things, and he said something about the 2012, about these bases and these underground things, that there's all this stuff. He says, you think the government's building all these weapons, stuff that they're not going to use them. He said, this is the time we are living in right now. And I've thought about this. Everybody keeps talking about this 2012 thing. I'm not worried about it being a natural disaster, but I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't a government-imposed disaster be a lot more efficient, if you know what I mean?
Sir, you're absolutely right. Listen, how did we know months and months before the swine flu outbreak last year that it was going to happen? Because we got the confirmed intel and the documents from Indiana, New York, and other major states that they were going to all the police departments and fire departments and saying, there will be millions dead from flu this year. There will be martial law. There will be 1 million people buried in your county in Indiana from Chicago. To get the cops to all freak out, go under national security control, and harden their facilities against the general public. Now, when it came, it was a hoax, and we exposed that. But it doesn't matter. They've done all this to get this grid in place. I mean, how many people they're recruiting? We don't know. We see the public drives, the CIA ads on TV to, go join the CIA. We know the CIA is operating locally. That's mainstream news, even though it's illegal. I mean, my dad calls me up yesterday and says, Homeland Security, one of my patients tried to recruit me for Homeland Security, and then he went and talked to his other buddy, the dentist, and the doctor said, yeah, they came to my house 2 weeks ago. I mean, they're just everywhere. They're getting ready for something big. And we're the target. We have the documents. We know that. It's outrageous. And they don't want to spook people yet. They're still using the, oh, it's the foreigners. Oh, my gosh, they're so scary. But in all their internal stuff, it's always been about the American people. And now they're slowly announcing that. Hey, don't trust your neighbor. Hey, watch your neighbor. Hey, are they gun owners? Hey, are they criticizing the government? We got a bad case of crooks running things. And this must be what it's like to go to the doctor and have them tell you got cancer. I mean, that's what I feel like. I got children. I got a wife. I wish every minute this wasn't real. It's so real. And you've got the cattle out there, the sheeple, who are going to get hurt really bad along with the rest of us. I prayed a lot yesterday. I prayed for hours when I was driving. I was driving for 4 hours. And I probably prayed quietly, silently for 2 hours. I really got close to God yesterday. And then I had all these ideas and all these thoughts I want to articulate, all these notes I wrote. And then I get on air and I don't even know what to say anymore. You're all going to find out. Those of you in denial out there, you're going to find out. And those of you that are hired to attack me and lie about me, to divert people off the information I cover, you're going to find out. I just can't handle it anymore, folks. I'm going to be honest with you. It makes me sick that Glenn Beck copies everything I do. Though he's come a long way because the public's woken up so much that because they want to control the opposition, they allow him to operate so that they can have him flip-flop later. I know that's what's happening, but I really do cry. I really do cry. And yesterday, driving home for probably an hour, and I was embarrassed of it for some reason, and I had my sunglasses on. My wife didn't really notice. I had tears just running down my face. Not where you're sobbing, not where you're crying. I was almost like meditating, but I was had tears just coming out. Because it's going to get bad. And now, everybody I know, all they talk about is getting out of the country. And last week, I went and visited a few places to leave the country. I'm going to be honest with listeners. I won't leave, but I may get my family out of the country. And they were just the same or worse. There's nowhere to run, man. It's like Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia all rolled into one with super high-tech control. And all of these dumb cops and dumb hotel people and dumb doctors and dumb lawyers, all of them have no idea Do you think I get up here and tell you they're poisoning their water and it isn't true? We've got an hour-long top toxicologist scientist interview up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, the Dr. Conant interview for everybody, right up there on the site, where he lays it all out. They know full well. Where is your survival instinct for the average enforcer who's on a power trip working for this system? You're under assault every day. And I know why you don't break your conditioning, because at a subconscious level, you are scared to death. At a subconscious level, you know this is all real. Everybody's smart. Everybody's smart. Some are smarter than others. But everybody's smart in different ways. But even a child out of the mouths of babes, even a 5-year-old knows. And the globalists are master tacticians of psychological warfare. They've studied anthropology, sociology. They created it. They know deep down you're all scared. They know deep down you feel the ominous threat, the chill. Your sixth sense mobilizing you to resist and stand up. Your common sense. Your gut. And so they take that natural concern you've got to mobilize yourself to defend your family, and they say, oh, it's the man with the turban. That's why you feel like this. They know you know. You understand what I'm saying? So they take all of your gut instinct of concern. Everybody's freaked out. People know stuff's wrong. They know we're in trouble. And they take that and say, yeah, be scared, we're going to protect you, when they're the ones. They're the abusers. They're the bad guys. John, great points from Ohio. God bless you. It is an info war, a war on for your mind. I'm very excited to see more and more well-spoken, focused individuals getting involved in talk radio, posting incredible reports to different video sites. I'm seeing a lot of people really start to get it, and I'm seeing the nomenclature and the terms that I've coined being used everywhere. That's very exciting.
People really, in this country, in other states, they really do not see what outsourcing has done unless they come to some of these places up here.
Well, stay there. I'm going to hold you over. We sent a crew earlier this year to Detroit for an upcoming film on eugenics and depopulation, and it looked like something out of the Omega Man or the last. Let's talk to John in Ohio, then Joseph, Fred, Mike, and others. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Alex. Greetings from Mansfield, Ohio, the former appliance capital of the world until outsourcing hell came here.
Hadn't globalism been great? Hadn't it been good?
Oh, yeah. I wish you would come up here in Ohio sometime, Alex, and go through some of these Rust Belt towns. And I mean...
Exciting. Because I've been worried for a long time that people were only getting part of it. Now people are really starting to get the full magnitude of what we're facing. And look, I care about these little control freak people at hotels and malls and banks that have been trained to spy on you. I care about the doctors and the lawyers and this man on earth. I mean, it looked like a post-apocalyptic doom. Stay there. We're going to come back to John in Ohio, then Joseph, Fred, Mike, and everybody else. Folks, we know where tyranny leads. It leads to humiliation. It leads to poverty. It leads to bondage. But this is worse than previous tyrannies because on top of all that, extermination.